Okay, we are in episode 5, page 17. Beowulf has just been escorted to the doors of Heorot by the Danish watcher who sits on the shores to protect the coast from invaders. So this is going to be our first meeting between Beowulf and Hrothgar. The path he'd shown them was paved, cobbled like a Roman road. They arrived with their mail shirts glittering, silver shining links clanking, and iron song as they came. Sea-weary still, they set their broad battle-hardened shields in rows along the wall, then stretched themselves on Heorot's benches. Their armor rang, their ashwood spears stood in a line, gray-tipped and straight. The Geats' war gear were honored weapon. So we have the imagery of the men and their glittering gear, again showing the importance or the predominance of their wealth. They actually place all of their gear, all of their armor and their weapons kind of as a sign of peace, but also because they call it sea warriors, they're still tired. So they're kind of waiting for Hrothgar and Hrothgar's court to arrive, so they're relaxing. A Danish warrior asked who they were, their names, and their fathers. Again, every time someone new comes into the scene, they ask Beowulf and these men, who are you? But not only who are you, but what's your name and who are your fathers? Again, all important aspects of their catalogs and genealogies as a characteristics and convention. Where have you carried these gold-carved shields from, these silvery shirts and helmet, and those spears set out in long lines? I am Hrothgar's herald and captain. Strangers have come here before, but never so freely, so bold. And you come too proudly to be exiles. Not poverty, but your heart's high courage has brought you to Hrothgar. So this is, his name is Wulfgar. We'll learn that in a little while. But he is Hrothgar's right-hand man. And he says, you know, I've noticed a couple of things about you. One, you're obviously not beggars because you're basically dressed to the nines. You have great, great armor. But also, no one's ever come in so freely and so bold. You obviously don't have anything to hide. I'm curious as to who you are. He was answered by a famous soldier, the Geats' proud prince. Now, the Geats' proud prince, another epithet, style of sustained elevation. We follow Hygelac, break bread at his side. I am Beowulf. My errand is for Healfdane's great son to hear, your glorious lord. If he chooses to receive us, we will greet him, salute the chief of the Danes, and speak out our message. So a couple of things happened there. This is the first time we heard Beowulf's catchphrase, or his repetition or use of stock phrases, which is I am Beowulf. But Beowulf also tells Wulfgar, you know, Hrothgar really has a choice. He doesn't have to meet with us. I'm here to help you, but if Hrothgar doesn't want my help, then that's okay. Wulfgar's initial impression of Beowulf is that Beowulf is honest, loyal, and a strong warrior. These are fantastic characteristics. These are epic hero characteristics. Wulfgar replied, a prince born to the Swedes, famous for both strength and wisdom. Our warm-hearted lord will be told of your coming. I shall tell our king, our giver of bright rings, and hurry back with his word, and speak it here, however he answers your request. He went quickly to where Hrothgar sat, gray and old. In the middle of his men, and knowing the custom of that court, walked straight to the king's great chair, stood waiting to be heard, then spoke. There are Geats who have come sailing the open ocean to our land, come far over the high waves, led by a warrior called Beowulf. They wait on your word, bring messages for your ears alone. My lord, grant them a gracious answer. See them and hear what they've come for. Their weapons and armor are nobly worked. These men are no beggars. And Beowulf, their prince, who showed them the way to our shores, is a mighty warrior, powerful and wise. So we end with Wulfgar really giving Hrothgar kind of a skewed impression, saying, Hrothgar, you need to listen to this guy. They came here freely, boldly. You should see how they're dressed. This guy seems like the real deal. I think we should really have a listen to him. So you have this image of Beowulf in almost beautiful and perfectly described as the kind of the ideal warrior. And then we have Hrothgar, who is described as gray and old. So much so that he's actually willing to be almost manipulated maybe by Wulfgar. Because he'll ultimately listen to what Wulfgar says. But I think it's the Danes in general, Hrothgar, Wulfgar, they're so beaten down by Grendel that they'll take any kind of help. And they see immediately that Beowulf may be their savior.